Hey, I'm Scott and Andy, and out of nowhere we've got a brand new set.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
I've been saying on the stream, like, is it possible that there would be a bigger, like the ranked would be a bigger update than just ranked? I was thinking quality of life improvements. I wasn't thinking, here, have a 110 card set out of nowhere. And in less than a week. So they've revealed a bunch of cards from Shining Revelry, the new set. Let's take a look and see if they're any good, yeah? Right, Charizard EX. So the second Charizard EX we've ever had. 180 HP, 1 energy stoke, which is take 3 fire energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon so it can self-ramp effectively. And then 5 energy steam artillery, 150, weak to water, 3 retreat cost. This does open the door to potentially seeing fire decks that don't just run Moltres, which I'm happy to see because it's kind of a boring variant. And if you curve into Charizard, so you Charmeleon, Charmander 1 energy, Charmeleon 2 energy, Charizard stoke, and then you do 150, and it's 200 really good, but it's pretty much overkill against anything in the game. So dealing 150 consistently is better, as long as you can get the 5 energy on it. So it's interesting. And there are other ways to ramp. You could use Dawn or whatever and get energy on it that way maybe. Or you could just run Moltres, I don't know. But I'm happy to see an alternative to the existing Charizard decks. And also the stoke seems like it, because of its bulk, it can sit in the active slot for a turn and stoke and probably be fine, which is a big advantage. So you can just have it with 2 energy, bring it out, stoke, and then just start deleting stuff next turn. Because 150 is really good. Because 150, maybe you need a Giovanni to hit 160, or even one of the other new cards to hit 170 against EXs. But that's a good, especially right now, a lot of EXs are like 130, 140 health. Lucario EX, so 150 HP, so it's kind of bulky. And then 3 energy Aura Sphere, 100 damage. And this attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which seems decent. I think at the moment, though, people want Lucario for the damage buff to other things like Rampardos. And a lot of, like, it's a stage 1, which is good, but I think a lot of the fighting decks we see tend to be more low energy investment. So I'm not quite sure if 3 energy Aura Sphere is going to work with those decks. So I'm not 100% sure on this one. But 150 bulk is good. Pachirisu. So is electric energy back? I hope so, because it'll get rid of some of the water types we see. There's so many water types around. So 70 health, good for a basic. And then 1 energy plasma, 10 damage, take a electric energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched electric Pokemon. So effectively electric Manaphy. It is a little bit different. So it's better in some ways, worse in others. So it has 70 health, whereas Manaphy has 50. So one-shotting it is quite difficult. It does 10 damage, which is nice. Any kind of chip damage is good. But that means Druddigon, Rocky Helmet means you're doing damage to yourself, which then makes you effectively easier to one-shot. You only do 1 energy to 1 Pokemon, but that's fine. It's not as... Manaphy's pretty crazy. Otherwise, this does seem like a really good ramp card. So what it does mean is you can probably run this... I mean, unfortunately, it means Magnezone isn't going anywhere, because you can run Magnezone, Pachirisu, and maybe something else. So you can effectively ramp, like... I mean, you can either start ramping your Magnezone or ramping your 3rd electric from turn 1, which is pretty nuts. Wiglet. So water basic, 60 HP, 1 energy spring out. One of your opponent's Pokemon is chosen at random, do 30 damage to it. So it's teeny tiny mini Dragonite. So the randomness is, I feel like there's a gimmick deck coming out here. Because like, it does mean you can bench snipe sometimes, but I don't think it's that great. Actually no, any kind of like 30 damage is good, and then if you're, oh, I accidentally hit something on the bench and now I can Cyrus it in, that's not terrible. We will obviously just look at Wugtrio EX, which is evolution. So stage 1, 140, 3 energy pop out throughout. So basically one of your opponent's Pokemon is chosen at random 3 times. Each time the Pokemon is chosen, do 50 damage to it. So it's 3 times rather than 4, but Dragonite. It's interesting. I mean, you're a 2-pointer rather than 1-pointer like Dragonite. You don't have as many hit points. But 3 water energy is really easy to get with Manaphy and everything else. I guess the issue is with the randomness. I mean, if they're running single like 18, like Articuno 18 trainer, Palkia 18 trainer, then they're taking 150, which is brutal. So maybe this is the answer. This is how we get rid of 18 trainer decks. You just Wog Trio them. Vroom, 70 hit point steel type, 1 energy headbutt 10, nothing. 70-10 is absolutely fine. Nothing really to talk about here. Tatsugili, so water type 70, retreat directive is your active Dondozo has no retreat cost, and then rain splash for 20. Seems fine, but obviously it's going to depend entirely on how good Dondozo is. Sprigatito, so grass type, 60 health, and then cry for help, so put 1 random grass Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Absolutely, you're not doing damage, but that seems fine, and I think this is a stage 2 line, so that's actually pretty helpful. Pinsir, so Pinsir, 90 health, okay, 2 retreat cost, bad. 3 energy, Guillotine Rush does 50, but then flip a coin until you get heads, this attack does 40 more damage for each head, so 50 and then maybe 90 and so on. A continuing thing of them making bug Pokemon I like bad. It's just not good. So trainer card red. So this could be, potentially, the answer to a lot of the dominant, like, basic EX gods that have been dominating the meta right now. But during this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon do 20 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX. So it is better than Giovanni against EX Pokemon. But it is kind of limited. If you go into like a Rampardos deck now, it does nothing. So I can see this as maybe a one-of in certain decks. Because like Arceus decks now are taking 1 Giovanni, maybe 2, for the mirror match. So they can do 130, 140 and knock out other opposing Arceuses. I can see them dropping 1 of the Giovannis for a red, purely because the targets they want to do that damage to are EXs. So I can see it there. Otherwise, I don't know. Like a one-of if you really need to be able to one-shot the bigger EXs. But maybe, I mean, I don't know if this is enough to push away from EXs completely, but definitely it's something else which is going to threaten the 18 trainer decks, because they don't like taking plus 20 damage, because it's basically anti-cape and it affects healing as well. Iono. So each player shuffles their cards into their hands, shuffles the cards in their hand into their deck and then draws that many cards. I am going to absolutely hate this card, because I already hate people doing random shot in the dark red cards, and this is also that kind of as well. However, I wonder if there's a world where if you're running double, like a stage 2, so you're running like double communication, maybe you ditch one of your communications for an Iono, just so you've got that emergency, oh dear, I've brick, turn 1, let's see if I can get out of jail. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to be annoyed by this card, having my deck, my hand just shuffled around. But, you know, I'll be happy when I get unbricked by an Iono. Tinkerton. EX. So stage 2, 170, so it's one of the chunkier EXs. 3 energy terrific thumping, so 80, and then flip a coin if heads does 80 more damage. So it's effectively twice as powerful as an Executive EX, which is like 40, maybe I do 80. This is 80, maybe I do 160. It's also a more reliable version of something like Marowak EX, but you're doing something, you're not just going to blank out completely, you're going to do 80 and then maybe 160. So that is a serious amount of damage, but it's a stage 2 and you need 3 energy, so maybe. And the problem with a lot of normal and steel cards is you have to compare yourself to Arceus now, because like, okay, I can run this with the Dialga, but is running Arceus just better because it's a basic that does 130? This is the world we live in now. So Giratina EX. So it's nice to see another like big psychic Pokemon. So 150 psychic. Chaotic Impact is 4 energy for 130 and you do 20 damage to yourself. So it's a bit better than Arcanine's attack, but then you need 1 more energy. And then we've got the ability which is Broken Space below. So once during your turn, you may take 1 psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. If you do use this ability, your turn ends. So it is a very limited kind of ramp. However, well, it's a problem if you want to attack, because you're basically giving up a turn of attacking. Now, if you're running a wall, like say for example Druddigon, you don't want to attack. You can just sit and just double up on Giratina over a couple of turns, it's ready to roll. So I think that's probably one of, if I was running Giratina EX today, I'd probably do Druddigon, Giratina EX, and then maybe something else. Or maybe you can try it with something else which can tank and doesn't need to attack. So even though the ability is quite limited, I think it's at least decent with Druddigon. Pikachu EX. So basics, 120, so in the world we live in now, relatively fragile. But 3 energy, Thunderbolt, 150, discard all energy from this Pokemon. So it's 10 more damage than the Raichu for same energy, discard all. It is, but it's not a stage 1. And you can't benefit from, what's the name, Surge, to put the energy on there. However, if you're running a Pachirisu to lead and fire energy back, you can do 1 energy on Pachirisu, do 10 damage, fire back, energy onto Pikachu. Next turn, X-speed the Pachirisu out, Dawn it, that's 3 energy on the Pikachu, you do 150. That's pretty bonkers. And also, maybe you've got a Magnezone on the bench, also building up as well. So quite fragile these days, but the potential for spiking 150 is pretty good. Also, spiking 150 against, Dialga, Palkia in particular, because this will get through Palkia with Cape. This will delete Articuno. Something like this could be enough to bring down the kind of ultra dominant water decks, because they like having healing. But if you just one-shot them, doesn't matter. Paldean Clodsire EX. So this could be something of a boon to dark decks. So 160 HP, nice and bulky, cape it to 180, and then 3 retreat cost is not great, so it's another kind of muck equivalent. But 2 energy Venoshock, 60 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, this attack does 60 more damage, so 60 to 120. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is you can do a Weezing deck with Clodsire. So you Weezing, Poison, Koga out, Venoshock for 120. And also, Weezing's actually pretty good at doing chip damage as well. Now, one thing that's probably going to define how good Paldean Clodsire is what its basic version is. If its basic version can apply Poison, so 1 energy, do something, 10, 20 damage, also you're poisoned, this card is good because it's self-sufficient. You don't need to have the Weezing combo. If it doesn't have, if it's just a basic 60-20, oh hey, I do 20 damage but no poison, it probably goes down from quite good to just okay. But if it has the ability for its basic to do poison damage, then now we're talking. Beedrill. So Beedrill EX, 170 grass, so quite chunky. 2 energy Crushing Spear 80, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, doing that can be game breaking. Usually once your opponent's got the energy they need, removing 1 doesn't make much difference. But if you're putting them in a situation where they need 3 energy, they've got 2, and you knock them down to 1, that's game ending. If you can just, because it's not even on a coin flip, it's not random like Gyarados is. It's just boom, okay, you aren't going to attack me unless you've got some kind of crazy ramp now. So this is potentially really, really good. The obviously downside is stage 2, but who knows? I think this is potentially really good. The only downside obviously is 80 damage, because when you're stage 2 coming out, you kind of want to be doing more. At least 100, probably 120. With all the healing that's around these days, 80 damage just isn't enough. Bibarel EX, 160 normal. So 3 retreat cost, not great, but 4 energy Carefree Press, so 100, heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. There is a world where you run this with all water energy, so you can Irida, do a lot of healing. However, I mentioned this with the Tinkaton. If you're normal or steel EX, you are comparing yourself to Arceus. So Dialga, 1, was it Metallic Overdrive, Metallic something? Metallic Turbo. And that Arceus is ready to go next turn for 130 damage potentially. This just isn't sure, but it's just not quite there. The 160 bulk is quite nice though. So that was all the cards we've seen currently. I think, to be honest, there's nothing that seems too crazy, and I'm okay with that. I think we could do with a set that isn't completely busted. or doesn't have anything crazy like Arceus. But let me know what you think. Which cards do you like? Do you hate that they're releasing a set so soon again? If you like this video, please like and subscribe and all that, and I will see you later, yeah?